if I could ask, what has been a benefit of this experience of you, each and every one of you, of having been diagnosed with whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it a cancer or dis-ease in our body? There's a lot of different labels that we can place on things in our life. And the danger with labeling things is that the meaning that we create around anything that we talk about, our language is incredibly powerful in creating the reality in which we create our lives. And because of all the things that we've heard about cancer and disease and things that we hear just from reading and the media, it can be very easy to for our brains to go to worst case scenario. But what is important for us to remember is that anything that happens to us in our lives is neither good nor bad. It's the meaning that we create around our experiences that we have in our lives is what creates our reality around it all. And so this is where we have to remember that we are cause in the matter with how we create the meaning around anything that happens in our lives and what kind of reality we want to create in order for us to stay empowered in the face of anything. We
Right.
are in the empowered place of deciding what meaning we give something. And so for me, having been gone through my third cancer experience, whether it's cancer or whether it's uh, going on my 4,000th audition for an acting job that I didn't get, I can make it mean that life sucks, that there's no hope, that there's something wrong with me, that there's something wrong with my environment, or I can look at it and refocus and reshift my perspective to what's the blessing for why this is happening for me? What is it? What's the message here? What is source presenting to me as an opportunity to truly live my purpose in life that has woken me up? Because a lot of people can just sleepwalk through life and just go about doing their life on autopilot. And I think the blessing for anyone who is going through any sort of health journey is that it wakes you up, right? So, Raven, what would you say is something that is a positive that you've been able to experience or what's been revealed to you that has really been a blessing in your life from all of your experience?
Um, it's definitely been a journey, and I think I've been blessed that for a long time I really didn't have the level of pain that I've recently been experiencing, and I didn't appreciate that for those several years that I was able to do as much as I was able to do. I just took for granted. It was like been given a diagnosis, but for the most part, I'm feeling great. And so I could wander around in the city and attend different things. Only recently has pain become such a big deal that there are days where I just simply can't get out of bed and do much of anything.
Mm.
And that really started this year for me. So from 2022 up until 2025, things were manageable, you know, pretty much well managed. And then things shifted. And so I'm adjusting to that. And while adjusting to that, I've kind of come upon what I believe to be my purpose, which is to take more of a patient advocate role type of thing. Um, because now I understand what a lot of people spoke about in different support groups and seminars and things. I've been on both sides. I've been on the kind of the easy route and now the more challenging. And so I've become more vocal, I think, than I've ever been during some of the most difficult days, which, like I said, for several years, I kind of got away with living life pretty much normal. I didn't have to do much advocating for myself. So I think that's the blessing. That's the blessing, is gaining the understanding that everybody's experience can be different, and
Hmm.
some days can be easier than others. And being thankful for the days, the hours, the moments when you're able to function with some normalcy, with
Hmm.
some level of normalcy. So
Yeah,
I've learned gratitude in a whole new way.
I would agree with you on that one.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think we've all met people in our lives who it may on the outside look like they have everything, the nice house, a lot of money, nice car, but inside just not fulfilled, not feeling on a deep level uh, the gratitude that I think this has really made me appreciate, like you were saying, each and every moment that I get to spend with my family and doing the things that I truly love to do.
Yeah.
Deb, how about you?
It was really powerful when you said, um, when you were talking about, did you blame, I blamed Delaware for my cancer for the 9 years I've had cancer, relationship with cancer. I truly believed, I was like, it is definitely environmental, because it was like one and then another and then another. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Um, but I think for me, the gift of my experience, and it's a very experiential thing with cancer, whether you want to participate in the cancer fighter activities when you go to treatment, or whether you stay in your room the whole time. There's an experience there. There's an energy with every person I interacted with. And I treated for breast cancer at the City of Hope in Chicago. It was the Cancer Treatment Centers of America at the time.
Mhm.
But for me, the gift was really stopping kind of the autopilot that I had been on, like continuing to chase what I thought I wanted. I lived in New York, I lived in Virginia, I lived in New Mexico, I lived in Pittsburgh, where I'm originally from. I kept leaving when I got burned out because I couldn't figure out how to make what I thought I wanted happen. So I would leave and I'd go and regroup at my mom or dad's house and, reestablish myself financially so I could get back out and try again. And for me, the gift was really reconnecting me to the basic tenets of all the training that I've had over the past 25, 30 years. So I'm starting to walk the walk, if that makes sense. Like, I'm actually looking back at some of the basic trainings, even with my yoga teacher training. And I took that because I didn't want to have to go to a yoga class 3 days a week. I just wanted to know the knowledge. So I went for a month at an ashram and did an intensive training. And the first thing they told us when we finished was, don't go home and throw out all your stuff, because you'll freak out and you'll go out and buy all new stuff because you're not ready to purge. Like, you live for a month without all of that stuff and you're eating a vegetarian diet, and you're doing what they're teaching you, you're experiencing it, but you're not necessarily ready to maybe fully implement that lifestyle, because that might not be 100% the way you want to live. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm leaning towards that in a lot of ways, I've noticed with my eating, but I'm for sure would not be getting any enough nutrients if I were to just dive on in. And I think
Mhm.
for me, it really is helping me go back to the basics, because I kept doing, and I mentioned it last time, I did all of these trainings because I love being portable. I love the idea that I could move anywhere in the world and still have the knowledge. Whether or not I can practice there legally is a whole nother, dynamic, but to have the knowledge of how to perform Reiki on myself, as well as distance Reiki, as well as working with others, to have the knowledge to self massage, to have the yoga training that can help me recover from my car accident that I had in December. Um, it's the basic stuff, though. It isn't like how many more trainings can I get? How much more education can I get? It's what did I learn that made me feel like this was the path I wanted to be on? Where was that initial spark of wanting to be a healer, wanting to make those resources, that knowledge available to other people where they don't have to go out and get a $50,000 herbal degree that then they're struggling to pay back because you have to either build your own business or work for someone else. And
Mm.
that takes time as well. And I think that for me has been the gift of this journey. And I had a lot of anger. So it was like tied in with the shift of moving to a place where I never quite found my tribe here. I'm not from Delaware, and I'm it's funny because you talk about source, and my father was an Episcopal minister. So I grew up in the church, but my spiritual nature is not as public as public church. It's very private to me. It's not something I, you know, profess to others. It's just a very personal thing for me.
Mm.
And I feel very much out of my element here. And I spent pretty much the whole time I was here trying to figure out how to leave. And then you get yourself in, and then you get into grad school, and then you get a cancer diagnosis that's going to take up a good bulk of your time. So I am learning to vibrate on a different frequency instead of looking at how the things aren't going the way I envisioned them. I'm embracing how they're happening and saying, okay, well, maybe my vision is really not the best vision for me because the universe keeps telling me, no, no, honey, I'm going to keep throwing this message in your face until you listen to what your core is telling you. And I think that's where I am right now. I'm able to sit and be more still and
Mm.
just not necessarily attach, like you said, labeling things. We learned that in massage. If you tell someone they have fibromyalgia, they will be attached to that diagnosis
Yep.
as an illness, as a crutch for the rest of their life. That does not mean it does not exist. That means you don't need to name the puppy. Like just be aware that it's there
Yep.
and set it down, and don't let that define you. And I am working on what that looks like for me,
Yeah.
not labeling everything because I need to have it in a compartment in order to deal with it.
Yep. So true. And that's the true mastery of all of this is essentially a good exercise that we can look at in terms of helping us quickly discern where we're getting stuck in the meaning of things is if we draw two circles on a piece of paper, just like this, and on the circle on the left, at the very top, we want to write what is. This is just what is. And then over here on the right, above the right circle, we want to write the meaning we attach to it. So what is and the meaning we attach to it. So underneath the what is, what we want to be diligent about is not getting stuck in story, not getting stuck in the words that can create the reality that then create the story that we live into. So when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2006, what you would want to do is, and you can write out as much of this as you want. I would write out something like, the size of my anatomy was larger than what is normal. That's what I would write as what is. The story way to describe that is, it was swollen and there was something wrong. So the what is I went to my doctor and my doctor told me that there was some abnormality in the ways in which my cells are dividing. If we can get down to the actual what is of what is going on with our anatomy, it helps us gain some clarity and some leverage in what is necessary to implement integrity for us not to get stuck in the story, which is the unknown. For example, when we go through a breakup, a lot of times we can say, oh, uh, that relationship killed me, or he, um, I got kicked in the stomach. We can use a lot of emotional or metaphorical ways to describe what is really actually happening. And we can then get stuck in that story. Words like divorce, that's a story word, or widow, or widower. Those are story words. So instead of saying I'm a widow, you can say I am someone who was partnered with someone who I had deep feelings for, and now they have transitioned into the afterlife, and now I walk my path in life without him in the physical realm, but I know that they're with me in the spiritual realm. So the more that we can describe the what is actually happening, and if we look at what cancer is, it's an abnormal growth of cells. Instead of saying it is cancer and it's spreading and it's metastasizing and it's all these story words that we can get stuck in and can terrify the crap out of us. And statistics are something that I don't like to pay attention to, because if the statistics say that you have a 60% or an 80% chance of not surviving, you may be in that 15 or 20% statistical range that actually will survive. But to your brain, if you look at the odds, it's going to start focusing on the probability that whatever has happened in the past with whatever the statistics are, and that's what we can get stuck on. So if we look at, Colin got a phone call, Colin went to his doctor, Colin said that he has an abnormal growth concentration in his testicle. Colin goes to have surgery. The testicle is removed. Now Colin goes to the hospital and receives treatment in the form of radio waves that obliterate the cells that are abnormal to allow the healthy cells to continue to grow. Now that is the what is. There's no emotional connection to that. There's no story around that. And after you write out the what is part, then I can look back and I can write out, what did I make it mean? And if I look back, when my doctor told me, Colin, you have advanced stage testicular cancer, I'm scheduling you for surgery on Monday. This was on a Friday. This needs to come out now. And the meaning I gave that was, oh shit, I'm in trouble. The meaning I gave that was, well, what are the chances of me dying? The meaning I gave that was, I have not lived all the things that I've wanted to do in my lifetime. And now the fact that I'm not going to be around to be able to experience having a family and getting married, then my life sucks. And so just writing this out can help us look at what are the thoughts and the meaning that we create around the things that are just what they are. And so if we look at, I experience, and if we look at the word anxiety, that's a story word. So if you say, I experience anxiety, if we really look at what anxiety is, and instead of avoiding it and doing coping mechanisms like trying to pleasure yourself by watching a movie or having a drink or just avoiding it, if we were to really lean into what is the anxiety that we experience around all of this, if you were to look into your body and just focus where in your body do you experience anxiety, because I experience it right here. And I had a checkup yesterday at City of Hope Hospital in Phoenix. And what's great about that place is as soon as I walk in, there's everyone at reception who have smiles on their faces. I walk in, I saw Mackenzie. She had a big smile on her face. She gave me a hug. But I still feel, in a way, I've got to refocus and recalibrate my thoughts because there's still an element of fear, or it's easy for my brain to go to that place of why do I have to spend half of my day contending with something that a lot of people don't have to contend with. And there's a sense of anxiety that I experience. It's almost as even like survivor's guilt as well. And that's another story that it can be very easy to get stuck in as well. To be told now that I'm on the other side of 3 times being cancer free, there's still an element of feeling like a ticking time bomb. Like, well, when's the next one coming? Right? And so instead of running away from that, I'm trying to focus where am I feeling the anxiety? And I can pinpoint it. It's right here. So what we want to do is we want to send a lot of love and attention and support, similar to as if you were talking to the 6-year-old version of yourself. And the 6-year-old version of myself right now needs to hear, Colin, no matter what happens, you're not alone. Because I'm here with you. And so it's important that the adult version of ourselves advocates for that younger part of who we are, to remind ourselves and literally just have a conversation with ourselves to say, you got this, because we got this together. And it's important that we breathe into that and remind ourselves that we are immensely powerful when we connect to source and we tune in to the immense, omnipotent energy of source and allow that to flow into who we are. Because most of the time, when we are in that state of anxiety and fear and pain, we cut ourselves off from source. And our breath is our connection to source. So, what I like to do is just put my hands on my heart and just take a few deep breaths. So, if we want to do that right now, breathe in through your nose on a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. And then exhale on a count of 4. And then we hold for a count of 4. Breathe in through your nose on a count of 4. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Exhale. So this is what's called box breathing. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And just this simple little exercise can help us subconsciously regain control of our current reality and remind us that we are not solely these physical bodies, that in the grand scheme of things, we are the vehicle and the medium for which source can flow through us. And if we really look at what is the purpose of why we are even here, there's a lot of physical desires that we have while we're here on this physical plane. But is the purpose for why we are here in this world to watch Netflix and experience eating chocolate ice cream? Is that the real reason why we are here? Joan, if I could ask you, what is something that you've been grateful for through all of this experience? And on a deep level, what is your deeper purpose in life? What would you say?
Wow, that's a pretty heavy question. Um, so I actually do volunteer work. Right now, I'm not doing some volunteer work, but I'm kind of service oriented. And for 5 years, when I was re-diagnosed with breast cancer, I was volunteering at a charity shop and I loved it. And the money went to Ronald McDonald House here in a local city. Um, and I just recently finished up some time doing some volunteer work at another charity shop that unfortunately closed down because the building was needing repair. So I feel that's part of my journey is to help others, but I feel that another part of my journey is um, just showing the perseverance that I have to those who are praying for me.
Beautiful. And what's something that you are grateful for the experience of knowing that there's people there that are praying for you and that you're experiencing and inspiring other people about what it truly means to be resilient?
Well, when I was re-diagnosed, I had already signed up for this spiritual formation program that was a 2-year program.
Mhm.
And part of the reason for that program is to help others reconnect to Source, to God, and to have a more fulfilling life for themselves. So
Mhm.
I've helped some people along the way. That's another reason I give back to that. And just being an inspiration to them and helping them know kind of some of the things we've talked about, know gratitude, as a beginning of every day, and gratitude of well-being, because I went through a period of time where, people take for granted talking, eating, sleeping, walking. And 2023, all of those things were compromised for me because became toxic to the chemo immunotherapy drug I was on, to the point where I was on a Pleurix catheter for a while on both sides of my lungs, one first on one and then the other. And so, it was the resilience of me just putting one step in front of the other um, every day
Mhm.
and showing people, how to keep your focus on the joy and the gratitude for that day and not focus on what side effects I was having.
Mhm. Amazing. And so, even though you were experiencing all of that, what we get to do is choose who we are in the face of. So, if we were to look at what we get to do each day with the Manifestation Daily Planner, we get to write, "Today I am." So, Joan, if you were to create yourself, and this is what we get to do as artists, as human beings, at the core of who we are consistently in a space of being able to create a lot of amazing things. And we have the ability to create a lot of horrible things as well. But based on what we are up to in life, who would you say you are today? Who do you create yourself to be today on this June 3rd, 2025?
Um, I guess I would say I create myself to being an inspiration both to myself and to others. I am a very creative person, and with that, I have to have things in my life that spark the passion of creativity. And so it could be a vision board, it could be doing a vision board on
Mhm.
what things I absolutely love in life, and saying things like, having words like branch out of the ordinary or joy or love or peace, and have nature, pictures of nature and pictures of flowers and
Mhm.
um, pictures of interior decor, because that's one of the things that I'm very interested in. Um, but also, it's an inspiration to others that I just keep moving forward and continue to plan trips. When my husband and I travel, and I'm not going to let cancer define the fact that I can't do certain things in my life that bring me personal joy to my heart and my soul.
Amazing. Beautiful. So today I am empowered inspiration. Now, if you were living truly being empowered inspiration, what our brain has is it's called the reticular activating mechanism or system, RAS, where when we declare something, our brain will then start to find evidence for it. So if each day we say, today I am, and Deb, who would you say today you are? Who do you create yourself to be?
Today, I create myself to be empowered support. I have some very close friends, some people that are experiencing a lot of strife in their everyday life. They're experiencing things that aren't moving, they're not moving through them as they wanted to, and they're having a hard time getting out of that story narrative. And I
Mhm.
am making myself available specifically this afternoon to be that sounding board and to just be support without attachment to help them get the clag and the clutter out of their heads so that they can be present and sit with what's really happening for them.
Amazing. And ultimately, underneath what is support to other people is, and with acting, when we're creating a character, we get down to the core value of what is the sponsoring value that allows you to show up to be supportive to other people. And ultimately, what it comes down to is love.
Okay.
Love for others, love for ourselves, loving ourselves even when we don't love ourselves.
Mm.
Because at the heart of who we really are, love is the only thing that truly exists. It's like light. Darkness is not actually real. Darkness is the absence of light. And so anything that we see in life that is creating fear, anxiety, stress, and we see a lot of it going on in the world right now, most actions are taken when there is either the presence of love or the absence of love. And so if there is anxiety or fear or uncertainty, it's because there's a lack of love. And this is where we've got to be an advocate for ourselves in order for us to know that in order for us to live the life that we are truly here to live, it's important that we cultivate and find ways to keep creating and allowing love to keep flowing through us and around us. And that is truly what I believe is the purpose of why we are here. And when we are in that flow and that frequency of love, regardless of what's going on with us physically, we never feel that we are alone. And we never feel that what we are going through is insurmountable. But our brains will tell us otherwise because our brains are meaning making machines that are designed for survival. And so we have to constantly remind ourselves, am I my brain and my thoughts and my meaning making machine? Or can I do this little exercise to remind myself that these are the things that happen. This is what my meaning making machine will make it mean. And so if we make things in our life, if we just write out what the experiences in our life are what we make it mean. We can then look at the meaning and say, do I choose this, or do I want to create another meaning around what is going on? So this is a little presentation that I put together. And these are some mantras that we can use to connect to source and commune with the frequency of love and abundant healing and abundant empowerment. Universe, I am open and ready for you to start conspiring in my favor to make my dreams come true. I request for a clear sign in my reality to come to me today. I'm open. I'm ready. Thank you. So the universe and source is your menu. It's always there whenever we need it. But it's important for us to slow down, to tap into it. And if we start off by asking a simple question, what is the purpose of life? A simple but profound question. Is the purpose of life to achieve goals? Is the purpose of life to discover what we are capable of? Why do people climb Mount Everest? So many people have done it before. And so many people have died climbing that mountain. The reason why a lot of the times we do things in life is to see what we are capable of. Some people choose to do things like that. And then some of us get handed our own Mount Everest challenges, which provide us the opportunity to discover what we are capable of. And we all have experienced that we are capable of a lot of things that we didn't necessarily know we were capable of. It's the purpose of life to create partnership. Is the purpose of life to have fun? Is the purpose of life to make money? Is the purpose of life to fight and attain power, which is what we see in the world? Now, in the midst of all of this, where do we fit in? It all comes down to what inspires you, what makes you feel connected, what lights you up on a deep soul level, what makes you feel loved, what challenges you to be your best.
For about 3 days.
And what impact you can have on others. Just by your going through the challenges that you guys are all going through, it is inspiring to a lot of people, especially our family members. In order to truly discover life's purpose, or in other words, your purpose, we have to look at who we are, not who we think we are, but who we are as our core soul self identity, otherwise known as our soul ID. In order to discover who this is, we have to transport to a different dimension. So if we allow ourselves to reconnect and member to who we truly are on a deep level, we get to start playing in the world out beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing and meaning. And out there, there is a field where there is no fear, only love, connection. And in this space, anything is possible. In this space, there is no judgment, no fear, there's no right or wrong, bad or good. There is no ego. There is no number one. There is no good, better, best. It just is all pure existence of source and love. And it's easy to get stuck in outside of all of this because that's what we wake up to. And if we have to go to the hospital and get poked and prodded and blood drawn and the results and go into your portal and see what the test results are. And going into my portal yesterday after getting my blood test, I'm like, okay, now what? And sure enough, now my cholesterol is high. So now I've got to take cholesterol medication. And I can make it mean, oh, there's one more thing now that I have to contend with. Or I can make it mean, okay, this is great that now this is one more thing that I'm implementing integrity in my life so that if I want to create and continue to inspire and make an impact in the world, what is going to allow me to keep continuing to do that? And once we identify with what our soul ID is and isn't, we are going to use the power of manifesting to create from this space. And so to co-create with the universe, with God, the divine, what can you create from this space? What do you want to create from this space? We have the ability to create anything. And how do we do this? We start with the practice of manifestation. And so manifesting is the art of creating a certain set of circumstances to facilitate the emergence of an ideal reality. This is possible through the process of harmonizing with the energetic frequency of that alternate reality in the present moment. So regardless of what your current environment is, by thinking about what we are grateful for in this moment, it can start to shift our energy and our reality. So, what are we grateful for currently? It's necessary to reorient your awareness to a state of current abundance, an abundance of things that, if we look in the world, we have way more than a lot of what other people have in the world. And by just going through this in the playbook and writing out what you are grateful for in your self honor and fulfillment, health and wellness, love, career, family and friends, and financial, this will help you start to shift your perspective on what your current reality is. The second one is to write out your ultimate scenario and just writing out what it is that you, and like what Joan was talking about with the vision board, focusing on this, and what are the habits that, and what are the actions that are in alignment with what you really want to create? Do you want to be going on road trips? Do you want to be focusing on creating partnership? Do you want to be called to a sense of adventure? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to do podcasts? Do you want to share your knowledge? Do you want to get paid to speak in front of audiences? What is your ultimate scenario? It's not just an idea using your five senses. What feeling does it elicit within you? And if you haven't thought about it or are struggling to think of something specific, this is your opportunity to gain clarity. And the third step is to visualize this. And in the playbook, I have a QR code where you can scan it and listen to a guided visualization. Has anyone done that yet? Nope. I would highly encourage you to do it. It's a beautiful way to just start visualizing more of what you want to create, and it's very relaxing. Because our brains are highly receptive to picturing a possibility, even if it doesn't already exist, when doing so, we start to tune in with the frequency of the energy we vibrate with when experiencing our ultimate scenario. So, meditation is perfect for visualizations. And this is then leading us into our fourth step, which is consistently doing this so that we help rewire our brain to create the patterns where no matter what we experience in the material world, we're able to shift our perspective back to who we know we are ourselves to truly be. Motivation only is temporary. So, what's needed is a plan. And that's why this 90-day playbook is really good for just helping you stay focused on manifesting and creating your schedule, both from a long term perspective down into your everyday, creating your day based on who you choose to be. And then focusing on reminding you, keeping you on track. And what I love about this is these chakra activations that really are designed to help you start focusing on what you know. I know myself to be an empowered soul being who's meant to inspire people and in my environment. I see a future of massive impact. And what I want to create more of is my speaking on stages and doing more of this work. I see myself doing movies. I see myself speaking the truth of healing and love. I love the people in my life. I love my family. I love the people that I come into contact with. I do the difficult things that enable me to create the life that I want to live and a life that I'm going to be proud of to create my legacy. I feel empowered. I feel fear, but I take action anyway. I feel the sense of excitement about all of this, and I am inspiration, self expression, and boldness in everything that I do. And then again, we get to write out what we want to create. And it's important to write out the things that are in our minds, because if we don't get it out of our head, it can swirl around in there and create all kinds of chaos. And this is why it's important to write that out. And then you got your priority matrix here, and then put it into your week. And this helps us create a sense of certainty with ourselves for us to be able to wake up into the reality that we choose to create. And to experience what's called escape velocity, to get out of our negative thoughts, to overcome habit gravity of doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing, to align with more of the things that we know that are going to help support us with what we want to do. Use this exercise here and start practicing this. And the more that you just write this out, the more that you can do it in your head without having to write it out. Where if you experience something that you instantly feel a visceral resistance to, you can ask yourself, okay, what is the reality of what is happening in this moment? And what am I making it mean? And what you'll notice is the more that you do this, you'll start to see that the meaning that you're creating around this, they did a study where they discovered that 85% of the worrying that we associate to the things that are happening in our lives never actually happen. And so what you'll start to realize is you're wasting a lot of time and energy worrying and creating anxiety around things that never happen. So this is a quick way to reset and refocus your attention to realign and to stay focused and to stay in an empowered perspective, to be able to just keep living your life, doing the things you want to do, knowing that we are blessed with this reminder that life is precious and life is valuable, and that we have the opportunity to be these inspirations and these reminders to other people in life, that the important thing about life is that we are here to support each other, to spread love and abundance, and that it's not about a lot of the things that we're seeing out there in the world. And just by you doing that, to me, that is a purpose-driven life worth living.